Today, VanEck proposes a spot Solana ETF. Coinbase sues federal agencies over their approach to crypto regulation. And ahead of tonight's presidential debate, former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms discusses the growing influence of crypto in the 2024 election. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. Crypto prices on the rise this morning, although Bitcoin held pretty steady, trading around $61,500 as of noon Eastern. Ether climbed more than 2.5% to around $3,450, and Solana soared nearly 8% following news that VanEck filed an application for a spot Solana ETF today. Okay, let's start with that VanEck filing for our top story. The asset manager filed an S1 for what would be the first Solana ETF in the US. In a post on X this morning, Matthew Siegel, head of digital assets research at VanEck, explained why the firm filed for a spot Solana ETF, saying that the Ethereum alternative stands out as a, quote, powerful and accessible blockchain software that enables greater transaction volume with minimal fees and employs a, quote, advanced security mechanism that combines proof of history and proof of stake. He also outlines some reasons why the firm believes Solana's SOL token is a commodity and not a security. He pointed to its decentralized nature, high utility, and economic feasibility, saying they align with the characteristics of other established digital commodities. Next, 25 states settled with Abra and its CEO over claims that it operated without required licensing. The Conference of State Bank Supervisors, an organization that helps state regulators oversee financial services, announced yesterday that Abra, along with affiliate companies and its CEO, Bill Barhyde, reached a settlement in an effort led by Washington State. The organization says that $82.1 million would be paid back to customers across the 25 states, and that the states agreed to forego a $250,000 penalty per jurisdiction to prioritize the customer repayments. We reached out to Abra, and a spokesperson said that the company is pleased to enter into a term sheet regarding the Abra app previously offered in the US. The spokesperson emphasized that since June 2023, 99% of assets held by US retail customers of Abra using the Abra app have already been returned, and that the company, through Abra Capital Management, continues to provide crypto services in the US as an SEC-registered investment advisor. Finally, Coinbase is suing the FDIC and the SEC over the state of crypto regulation and their alleged efforts to debank crypto startups. Paul Grewal, the crypto exchange's chief legal officer, shared the complaints on X this morning. Coinbase alleges that the SEC has refused to articulate a consistent or coherent view on the securities law's application to digital assets. Coinbase also claims that the FDIC, along with other federal entities, have tried to cripple the digital asset industry, and that the exchange wants to bring the FDIC's role in that alleged scheme to light. In that same thread on X, Grewal said that this is, quote, no way to operate a transparent government, and that Coinbase looks forward to the court's attention to these issues. We've reached out to both agencies about these lawsuits. An SEC spokesperson declined to comment, and we've yet to hear back from the FDIC. All right, for our main story, the first presidential debate in the 2024 election is happening tonight, and crypto is increasingly becoming a sticking point for both candidates in this very tight race. I spoke with Keisha Lance Bottoms, the former mayor of Atlanta, member of Coinbase's Global Advisory Council, and now a senior advisor for President Biden's re-election campaign. We discussed the role crypto adoption is playing in the 2024 race. Keisha, thank you so much for joining us today. We have got a big debate tonight that everybody is looking forward to. Stand with Crypto, who had a pre-debate rally you were at last night, and I do want to ask you about that in 1 second. But we know that they have been trying to make a crypto question a part of the debate tonight. How likely do you think that is, and what are your expectations?
So thank you for having me. And I want to make it clear that I am here in my personal capacity as a member of the Global Advisory Board, not associated with a campaign or a candidate. That being said, the event that we had on yesterday really is indicative of the cross-section of folk who are in support of crypto. We had people, young, old, all different races, and the energy in the event was absolutely incredible. You know, there's a movement behind crypto, and it would not surprise me in the same way that crypto has gotten the attention of leaders in Congress and local leaders across the country if it's not a discussion point at the highest level. More than 52 million Americans use crypto. So it's certainly on the minds of a lot of folk and a big discussion area, an area worth discussing.
Do you see it making it into the debate this evening?
We don't have any idea what's going to make it into the debate. I think that we can all expect that there will be a cross section of questions. I know that CNN and other outlets are giving people the opportunity to send in questions. So who knows what will be discussed in this evening's debate, but I do think it's worthy of discussion given the attention that Fit 21 has gotten in Congress and the attention that it's receiving from elected officials.
So let's talk a little bit more about the regulation that's been incredibly frustrating for the crypto industry for many years to not have clear legislation or clear sort of rules of the road within which to operate. And it's a huge reason that we've heard so much about this election being the Bitcoin election or the crypto election. So what, I guess, needs to happen in order to get that regulatory clarity, and what role do you see this election playing in that?
Well, it's highly unusual to have an industry asking for more regulation, and Coinbase has been a leader in this area. And it's so important because we want to make sure that we bring credibility to the industry to the extent that it needs more credibility. And for lawmakers, we have to make sure that what we are presenting to the public and what we are considering in terms of what we put our names behind is something that people can feel safe using. We heard from a small business owner who's used the technology to help clear titles or to post clear titles in the city of Baltimore, and he's done it around the world. So I think when you have these use cases, it certainly helps. It helps lawmakers to know this is something that can benefit cities, it can benefit counties, it can benefit states, that it really can make a difference in a positive way. And I think once that momentum continues, you'll see more people behind it. Fit 21 legislation had bipartisan support, which, it's kind of often difficult to get these days in Congress. So I think the momentum is there. We have to continue it and make sure that we are building on the success that we've already had.
We have, of course, heard Donald Trump make a lot of big, very pro-crypto overtures in recent weeks. The Biden camp has not only been slow to match that, but key Democrats like Senator Elizabeth Warren and Senator Mark Warner have not been friendly historically to crypto. And I know you said you're here as a Coinbase advisor, not on either side. I do want to highlight for viewers that you did join the Biden campaign. So in terms of this strong perception that there is that historically, Republicans have a friendlier stance toward crypto, and there's a lot of hostility from the Democrats, and yet we see bipartisan support. We see a lot of progress, and many of us think of crypto as a nonpartisan issue. But what do you make of those contrasting perceptions between the two parties?
Yeah, I'll just point out that candidate Donald Trump has not always been in support of crypto. This is something new, and these are based on public statements that he's made. And I know that the administration is taking a very cautious look at their stance on crypto. And I would just say, again, there's an evolution when it comes to public officials, elected officials. And so whatever the position may or may not be today or is today may or may not be the position tomorrow. But again, when you have bipartisan support in Congress, I think that goes a long way to help the industry. And that's what we're seeing. And I think it gives everyone confidence we have bipartisan support that we're headed in the right direction.
You mentioned the unbanked and the underbanked. I just want to highlight, we heard from the Trump campaign, they gave us a statement earlier this week. They said that it is the administration that would support these emerging technologies and serve groups like the unbanked and the underbanked. What is your response to that? And especially, given the hostility that I just mentioned, or the perceived hostility that I mentioned, and even just this morning, Coinbase did accuse the FDIC and the SEC of trying to cut the crypto industry off from the banking sector in some complaints. So what is your response to those things?
And again, I have to say that this isn't my personal capacity and not on behalf of a campaign or a candidate. But I wouldn't describe at least what I have learned and what I've seen as open hostility. I think that it's appropriate. I think people are being cautious, and I think that's appropriate for elected officials, whether you are Republican or Democrat, because you have to make sure that what you're offering to the public has the appropriate safeguards, et cetera. But again, when you have bipartisan support and you have an industry that's asking for regulation, I think that's very helpful, because it helps everyone come to the table and make sure that the parameters that are being put in place are going to be the appropriate parameters to give confidence in the industry and give lawmakers and elected officials the confidence they need to make sure that they're saying to the public, this is a safe industry and we stand behind it.
By the way, we also reached out to the Trump campaign for insight on the role of crypto in the upcoming election, but didn't hear back right away. However, earlier this week, senior advisor Brian Hughes said in a statement that Trump is ready to encourage American leadership in crypto and other emerging technologies. That's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.